Shalom, Apostle TAHAR coming back at you with this truth, giving all praise to Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai Ba'ashem Akakwadash. And I'm going to entitle this video, Bread Without the Circuses. This is a video, I wanted to put this up with the title, Bread Without the Circuses, and I came across Apostle Aramlah's video that said Bread and Circuses, and I listened to some of it. I'm going to listen to the rest of it after this video is done. But I thought about this a couple of days ago, so it was the Spirit that he put up his video. And I was thinking about, the reason why I was thinking about this particular subject, or the title, is because within the last, I don't know, couple of days, with the whole coronavirus thing, and you know what, I think about the coronavirus thing, or you should know. But anyway, within the last couple of days, Donald J. Trump had made an announcement along with the Secretary of Treasury, I believe that's Munchin, if I'm not mistaken. They were talking about giving they're going to bail out these mega corporations. They're going to bail them out. They're going to either $1 trillion or a couple of trillion. Ultimately, it's going to be in the trillions. But along with that, they're going to send checks out of $1,000 as of Monday. Now they're talking about $2,000, which brings to mind the individual, the Chinese American individual. I think his name is Wang, if I'm not mistaken. He was a Democratic candidate, and he suspended his campaign, but he was running on that if he became president, he would bring it before Congress that every American either get $1,000 a month, or I think it was $1,000. So now, I don't know if Trump said, we can use that to get on the side of the people. If you give somebody, the scriptures say this. The scriptures say a gift destroyeth the heart. Now, if this actually goes through, he gives 1,000 or 2,000, whether it's a one-time. Well, he's saying it because this coronavirus has gripped the whole country of America, all 50 states. So basically, you can't open up. You can't have too many people in your restaurant. You can't commiserate together. It went from 500 to like 250 to 50 to 10. They canceled all the major sporting events, which is circuses, and I'm going to get into that. And this concept comes from Rome. What Trump is basically giving you is bread. He's giving you bread, but for some reason he's not giving you the circuses. And I believe we got to wait to see what he's going to do. What's the whole psychology of this thing? Is he going to allow the sports to these major sports teams to play? Well, we'll see, because that keeps the people happy. These sports. You get anxious if you're working at a job. You want to watch the game. The All-Star game had passed. Now we're supposed to be in March Madness. And if you're a big basketball fan, I'm not a big basketball fan, but I watch basketball. You watch the March Madness, because right after the March Madness you have the NBA draft. Who's going to be the next MJ? Who's going to be the next Dr. J? Who's going to be the next Kobe? Because these men that play on the highest level, on the college level, the next step is the pros. where they get the big money contracts. And that keeps the people happy. You know, keep your belly full and keep the people entertained. Which entertainment means a distraction. So, I mean, here comes Trump. You know, Jake really don't like him. They might start liking him now. Oh, he's not all that bad. He's giving me free money. Anyway, let me read this in Wikipedia. It says bread. It's just it's just basic information on bread and circuses. Anyway, it says bread and circuses that took place in Rome, and it's taking place right now. But for some reason, he's not giving you the circuses. I guess he figured you're gonna be happy with the bread. Anyway, so bread and circuses are bread and games, from Latin penem et circenses, is a metonymic phrase critiquing superficial appeasement. You know, you watch a good show, you watch a good movie, you go to see a movie, and you're appeased. You know, you see a good movie, you feel good about yourself. You know, a heroic movie or whatever, you're appeased by that. Or if you go to a baseball game and your team wins, and they go all the way to the World Series, or your favorite NBA team, and they win, then you feel good about yourself, and it took that whole season. And then the next sport comes in. So now they got the big three. You know, Ice Cube came up with the concept of the big three, which is basically half court basketball. And it's pretty good if you watched it. It's basically fast. It's because it's half court. It's fast paced. It's fast paced. It said it is attributed to Juvenal, a Roman poet, active in, and the concept of Juvenal, what he came up with was a thing called satire, and satire is really making jokes and making fun of politicians. That goes back to the Roman Empire, and that happens now. It says active in the late first and early second century AD, and is used commonly in cultural, particularly political contexts. Like if you notice all these late night shows with these different comedians, and they'll always talk. Their monologue is on the president or the Congress. You know, they basically snapping on them. It says in a political context, the phrase means to generate public approval, not by excellence in public service or a public policy, but by diversion, distraction. That's where the word entertainment comes into play. When you're entertained, and you got the Netflix, right? You want to study the scriptures, a good Netflix movie come on, you want to watch that, so that's a distraction. It says by diversions, distraction, or by satisfying the most, listen to this, satisfying the most immediate or, let me bring that back up. Bear with me for a minute. Okay, there you go. It says the satisfying the most immediate or base requirements of a populace. What is the most immediate or base requirements of a populace? Money. So this guy said, I'm going to send out checks for $1,000, and a couple of days later, now we're going to do, I think we're going to give you $2,000 to every American. It's a stimulus plan. And there's a reason behind it. That's to prop up the, people are not going out buying because people don't have what do you call it, disposable income. You know, if you pay all your bills, and then after you pay all your bills, you might have $200 left. So you might put it away, you might put it in the bank, and then you keep doing it for, let's say you do that, diligently for a couple of years. Before you know it, you might have, that's weekly, you might have $4,000 or $5,000 at the end of the year, and then before you know it, you got 10, 15, 20,000. You might have played the stocks, you might have invested, and if you got disposable income, you're gonna go out and buy things. That's when people, when people, Jake, buys most of their shit at tax time, when they get their taxes, they go right out and spend. They get the new kicks, the Jordans, the clothes, the this, put down on the car. It says by offering palliative, for example, food, bread, or this whole thing disappeared. Esau messing with me, man. Let me try to bring this back up. Bear with me for a minute. Bear with me for 1 minute. Esau don't want this. I'm not saying say it. I'm saying Esau. Esau don't want this truth to come out. All of a sudden, this thing is acting up. Yeah, Esau don't want this motherfucking truth to come out. Let me just do this. Bear with me for a minute. Anyway, I'm going to also go into the scriptures. One scripture came to mind, and let me just let this set back up. Anyway, this is there's a lot that I can talk about, but Esau knows, and we always quote this scripture, Revelation 12 verse 12. The devil have come down on you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he have but a short time. He knows, just like the Pharaoh during the time of Moses, the birth of Moses. They looked in the stars and they saw the stars aligned a certain way, and they knew that the power, the great power, was going to send a deliverer. So they did everything in their power to stop that deliverer, and that happened when our Lord came on the scene 2,000 years ago. Herod, the so-called Jew, because that's what they are now, the Edomites. He wanted to worship the child, but he really wanted to kill the child, because he knew that was and that ain't nothing but the fulfillment of Revelation, the 12th chapter. So that shows you that Esau knows now. Esau knows what time period that we're living in. He knows that there's going to be a global reset, a spiritual global reset. Okay, let me see if I can set this thing back up. Okay, bear with me for a minute. Let me let this pop back up. And anyway, I'm gonna read into Revelation, the 12th chapter. I'm gonna breeze right through it, because Revelation, the 12th chapter, is talking about now, and it was talking about 2,000 years ago, and it was talking about Herod the Herodian dynasty, or Herod the Great, and his sons, and his children. Okay, let's see if this pops up. Let me see if this pops up right here. Okay, it popped up. Okay, I gotta get these tabs back up and running. Bear me for 1 minute. Bear me for 1 minute. See if I can catch these. Normally the history will come back up. Okay, here we go. We got it. We got it. As soon as it comes up. Okay, let me find my spot again. It says, okay, let me jump down to ancient Rome. Oh, basically, bread and circuses means food. Now, they can give you food, or they can give you money to go out and buy food. I mean, I can go in really what's really going on with this whole coronavirus, a COVID-19 thing, and the fact that all of a sudden, this guy, Donald J. Trump, wants to be Santa Claus in March, but at the same time, you want to lock you in. When you lock somebody in, what you're going to experience is a vitamin D deficiency, and there's a lot of diseases that can come. Ailments that come from not having vitamin D. Vitamin D come from the sun. You can take it in tablet form. You can eat certain foods that have vitamin D, but your vitamin D comes from the sun. And you need that. As a matter of fact, you know what? Let me do this. Let me try this. I'm going to try vitamin D deficiency. Vitamin D deficiency. Let's see. Oh, here it is. It says people get vitamin D from food and sunlight. Some people have a higher risk of not getting enough vitamin D, especially those with dark skin and adults over 65. Most people have no symptoms. In severe cases, deficiency can lead to thin, brittle, or misshapen bones. Yeah, because vitamin D keeps your bones strong. So what are they doing? Okay, it says 10 vitamin D signs, deficiency signs. Oh, it says tiredness. Frequent infections. When you stay in a house too long, you get frequent infections, and women do this. That's why women are so far. They run into the hospital all the goddamn time. They're tired all the time. They got infections. They got yeast infections. If you get some vitamin D in you, and you go outside, which that's detrimental to your health. Depression. Most women are fucking depressed. back pain. Most women got back pain. And it ultimately weakens your immune system. Bone loss. Who's known for the most bone loss? Women and older women. They get bone loss because they stay up, say, in the house all goddamn day. They don't eat the right foods. They don't exercise. And you brothers, man, you brothers, you guys in GMS, you guys be eating McDonald's, you eat Burger King, eating all kind of garbage. You know, you're not taking supplements. You're not taking any. Look, I do a thing called and Apostle Gabar mainly got me into this, which I knew about. It's called a lemon ginger blast. The main ingredients is lemon. You got your lemon. You got your ginger. Your pure ginger, your real ginger, and you put in the juice, and you got a habanero pepper. You need peppers in you. You need bitters in you. Peppers, you know, hot peppers, habanero peppers, and jalapeno peppers, cayenne pepper. You know, that's why so many Jakes catch strokes and heart attacks. You got a lot of brothers that are morbidly obese. Oh, it says hair loss. Muscle pain. All from a vitamin D deficiency. When you don't get the vitamin D from foods and you don't get it from the sun. Slow wound healing. A lot of you get your feet amputated because you heal. There's a lack of circulation, and that's partially from erectile dysfunction. Excess sweating. Hey, motherfucker around you sweating all the goddamn time. It'd be cold as hell. You sweating. What kind of shit is that? You got problems, man. And you're saying, where do you get all this information? Look, I go on to Google, man. Oh, there's one called 6 Symptoms of Vitamin B12 Deficiency. One of them is pale skin. Anyway, let's go back to the article right here, and I'm gonna get into the scriptures. It says here, ancient Rome. Oh, by the way, when I read Revelation 12, it's gonna tell you that they're gonna give you bread. They're gonna give you bread. It says, so this is the dragon. This is the dragon's last stand. Sound like a damn movie. Yeah, this guy Donald J. Trump is the dragon's last stand. It says ancient Rome. Okay, I'm back in Bread and Circuses, right? It says ancient Rome. It says this phrase originated from Rome in Satire 10 of the Roman satirical poet. The word satire is, you're a comedian, but you're mostly poking fun at politicians. It says of the Roman satirical poet or satirist. They also call satirist Juvenal, which was circa AD 100. In context, the Latin penem, and he came up with the term bread and circuses. The Latin penem et circensis, bread and circuses, identifies the only remaining interest of a Roman populace which no longer cares for its historical birthright or political involvement. Here Juvenal displays his contempt for the declining heroism of contemporary Romans. You know, people like back in the day, World War II, you had them Jake and even especially simple ass niggas. You know, they got the flag, the American flag folded in a pyramid. And they got the medals, the Purple Heart, and they brag about, yeah, I fought in World War II. You know, and you got Edomites, you know, they proud about that, you know, fighting in the war, you know, the Vietnam War. Well, the Vietnam War, they wasn't too proud, but the World War II, they were proud. You know, yes, we beat the Nazis, and America's a greater place. Well, at one time, that's how the Romans were, and it became a point where they're like Americans today. So it says here, it says identifies the only remaining interests of a Roman populace which no longer cares for its historical birthright or political involvement. Like when they go to war, what these deplorables do is look up the word deplorables. That's what Hillary Clinton called the Trump supporters. She called them a bunch of deplorables, and that's the only time she spoke truth. Anything else she said was a damn lie. The only time she spoke truth, she was right when she said they're a bunch of deplorables. Look that word up. Look up the word deplorables. And their thing is, if we're going to war, yeah, bomb the bastards. It says here, Juvenal displays his contempt for the declining heroism of contemporary Romans. So he's a satirist, using a range of different themes, including lust for power and desire for old age, to illustrate his argument. Roman politicians passed laws in 140 BC to keep the voters of poorer citizens. That's why you got these jakes. They run into the polls, man, to try to put Joe Biden up in there, man, to put Creepy Joe in there, man. Either way, you're gonna get screwed, man. By introducing a grain dole, giving out cheap food and entertainment. So instead of Trump giving you food and entertainment, he's giving you money. He's gonna send you a check. Like I said, now they talk. It's Monday, I believe it was 1,000. Now it's up to 2,000. Now they're talking about giving you $2,000 a month until this whole thing subsides. Which they're saying it could go all the way up into August. So you be getting checks, and it said every American. So now you niggas can talk about you got your reparations, and you got it from the guy that you hate, Trump. So you got to start loving him now. There's a reason behind why he's giving you this money. There's a deeper reason I'm not even going to go into right now. It says bread and circuses became the most effective way to rise to power. Like in the Latin American countries, the guy the guy comes out of nowhere and he says, "I'm gonna give away free phones." Oh, Obama gave you what? He gave you those free phones. Those they call them Obama phones. Well, this guy's doing the same goddamn thing. He's getting ready to give checks to everybody in the fucking America, man. We're talking about close to 350 million people gonna get at least $1,000 check, men, women, and children. So if you in the know, you know it's getting ready to happen. It said already long ago. This is a quote from this guy Juvenal, which is Satire 10. It says it's written in Latin and it's written in English, translated in English. It says, already long ago, from when we sold our vote to no man, the people have abdicated our duties. For the people who once upon a time handed out military command. Oh, by the way, it's Congress that declares war. They represent the people. A high civil office, allegiance, everything now restrains itself and anxiously hopes for just two things: bread and circuses. It says, and that's a quote by Juvenal, which is Satire 10. It says Juvenal here makes reference to the Roman practice of providing free wheat, this time as money, in checks to Roman citizens, as well as costly circus games. So let's see what this guy's gonna do with bringing the games back, and other forms of entertainment as a means of gaining political power. So Jake that didn't like Trump, they might start liking Trump. Shit, you every week, every month you get $2,000. You might start liking Trump. It says the annona, which is a grain dole, was begun under the instigation of the popularist politician Gaius Sempronius Gracchus, whatever, in 123 BC. It remained an object of political contention until it was taken under the control of the autocratic, which means self-ruled Roman Empire. Now it says here contemporary manifestation. It's talking about now. It said apart from media, or this thing, or you got to stay off the streets and you got to stay in your home and we're going to test you. You're getting it from the news. Themes echo in the present day West in terms of prominence of, for example, consumerism. So instead of them giving you bread, they're giving you a grain or whatever. They're giving you money so you can go out and become a consumer. It says consumerism is a social and economic order that encourages an acquisition of goods and services. You can pay for your cable, you can pay for your light, you can, in ever increasing amounts. With the Industrial Revolution, but particularly in the 20th century, 1900s, mass productions led to overproduction. The supply, your gas prices, there's a gas war between Russia and I believe Saudi Arabia, and what they do is to kill their company. They lower the price of gas, or they produce more gas. There's reasons behind everything that goes on. It says the supply of goods would grow beyond consumer demand. You can read the rest of it on your own. But it says, let me read this again. Contemporary manifestations of what? Bread and circuses. They don't give you bread. They give you checks. They give you food stamps. They give you if Esau was to take away all that they give you, there'll be riots in the street, man. If Jake living in the hood, the reason why they can watch cable TV, because they live with their girl, and their girl get food stamps, so there's food in the house, and they get their checks, they get their Section 8, they get all that. And I'm gonna say this, man, if you can take advantage of getting something from the goddamn government, go ahead and get it. What did the Apostle Paul say? He said abusing the world. He said using the world. And how do you say it? That's in 1 Corinthians 7. I want to get the correct, stated the correct way. I used to always quote it, but bear with me for a minute. So Jake is getting all happy. We're going to get these checks. We're going to get these $2,000 check. I'm going to get a check. My baby going to get a check. My kids going to get checks. Let's say you have 5 people in your house, man. You, your baby mama, and your babies. And all is 5 of y'all. That's $10,000 a month coming to your house. Jake gonna be happy. Anyway, as my stepfather would say, he from Texas, he would say, they gonna be happy. Anyway, where am I going? Oh, 1 Corinthians. 1 Corinthians. And everything is filtered through the scriptures. 1 Corinthians 7. Okay. And try it this way. Right, there it is. 1 Corinthians 7 verse 31. And they that use this world as not abusing it, for the fashion of this world passes away. So that's what Paul said. He said, use the world. And they that use the world as not abusing it, meaning get what you can from this damn devil. You know? Because what does it say in Deuteronomy? And you have no choice. Everything you get, you got to get from this man. Deuteronomy 28. Deuteronomy 28, verse 47. Now, this talks about how the Romans took you down, then later on Esau took you down and put you into slavery. But now you're getting things. You got Jake in the political offices. You got millionaire Jakes. You got a couple of billionaire Jakes out there. So they ain't got no problem with Esau. Oprah ain't got no problem with Esau. Gayle King ain't got no problem with Esau. It says, Deuteronomy 28 verse 47, because thou servest not the Lord thy power, the Most High, Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua B'Shem Kakodash, with joyfulness and with gladness of heart, for the abundance of all things, the Most High gave you the blessings. Therefore shalt thou serve thy enemies, which is Esau, which Yahweh shall send against thee in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in the want of all things. So everything that you got to get from Esau. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed you. Now there's a invisible yoke on you. You know, that's your SS number, your birth certificate. You know, that's the new yoke that's on you. Jake ain't trying to leave Africa. Jake ain't trying to leave no Africa, man. These comedic dudes, they ain't trying to go to Africa. They love America too much. Anyway, let's go back to... Okay, so let me read that again. Contemporary manifestation. Apart from media, Juvenal's themes echo in the present day West, which is America, in terms of the prominence of, for example, consumerism and sport. So your modern day bread and circuses is consumerism and sport, money and entertainment. So now let's go to Revelation. Yeah, this whole thing that's happening is a deeper spiritual meaning to it. Now I was going to get like a precept or two out of Revelation 12, but I'm gonna breeze right through it. Because I said I was going to go back into the breakdown. So let me go through it. It says, Revelation 12, verse 1, and there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. Now, you know that's the 12 tribes of Israel, because it goes back to Genesis, where Joseph said that he had a dream that the stars bowed down to him. He was talking about his brothers, and they were mad at him, man. They hated him for that. But they did bow down to him. It says, and she being with a child, cried, travailing in birth and pain to be delivered. That's talking about Yahushua. That's talking about she being with child, meaning Israel was with child with our Lord. But specifically, it was talking about Mary. But he came out of Israel, even though he came out of the womb of Mary. He was an Israelite, you know. The angel said, "Thou shalt call his name Yahushai," which means He deliverer, for He shall deliver His people from their sins. It says, third verse, "And there appeared another one in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon." Why is it red? Because it's Esau. Why is it a dragon? Because it has teeth. Now, its teeth is its military, and its regulations, and its draconian attitude, let's say. It says, having 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 crowns upon his head. Now that goes back to the pagan Roman Empire, but it's up to date with NATO and the EU. So this is your dragon. We're in the belly of the beast. We're in the fucking belly of the beast right now. It says, 4th verse, "And his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven." The stars of heaven, go back to the first verse, 12 stars, crowns of stars on the head. It's talking about the 3 of the tribes. What 3 tribes were here in Jerusalem? That Herod was there in the Roman Empire. Now the Roman Empire couldn't do nothing to the rest of the tribes, which is over here in the north, which are the Indian tribes. Ain't no black people came over to fucking America, man. It was them tribes. It says, "And his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven," because those are the only 3 tribes left, Judah, Benjamin, Levi. "And they cast him to the earth, and the dragon stood before the woman, which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her child as soon as it was born." That's a decree of Herod through his army and the Roman military forces to go out and kill the babies. It was really boy babies. It doesn't say boy babies, but it was boy babies. Because Herod knew that the Messiah was coming. That show you that Esau knows things. Esau has a bit of a spiritual mind to him. It says, 5th verse, "And she brought forth a man-child," which is Yahushai, who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron. And guess what? We're joint heirs with him. What is that? Romans 8. It said, "And her child was caught up unto the Most High and to his throne." Now, the Lord went through a lot of hell, but guess what? He's good now. He's been in the spiritual realm for the last 2,000 years, and he getting ready to do something. He's getting ready to do something. This thing that's going to happen, that's getting ready to happen, you can't compare it to anything on the history of the planet Earth. All the wars, all the disasters, all the earthquakes. You can't. This is going to be this is like the big ending of the great director on high. And the whole planet is going to know about it, man. This is a global thing. That's why the Most High made Great Millstone global back in 2008, 2009. Ideology said, GMS has gone global. Revelation 12 verse 6, for the woman fled into the wilderness, that's Africa, where and they also fled up into the north too, up into Europe. We're literally scattered all over the place, man. And we look like everybody on the planet Earth, where she has a place prepared of the Most High. What's the place? The place is America. That they should feed her there 1,203 days. So we've been fed by this devil. And slavery, they work you out in the field and they gave you cornbread and maybe some pork or something like that. And or corn, and they would give you the husk of the corn, and then we turned around and turned into grits. Now you got Esau down. I've been down south. Esau loves some goddamn grits. Where did the whole concept of grits came from? Jake took a lemon and made lemonade out of it, man. Talk about we ain't the chosen people. Give me a break. It says, and we're still being fed. Section 8, welfare, food stamps. Obama phone. Well, he still got the Obama phone, but it's the Trump phone. And Trump is showing that he's a goddamn socialist, man. Now he's getting ready to send. Congress is getting ready to set. They passed a bill already. They're getting ready to send checks to every American, anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000 a month per member of the family, children, grown-ups. So you niggas want your reparation, you get ready to get it. You get ready to get your reparation, man. Guess who's gonna give it to you? Donald J. Trump, or Nero the hero. A 7th verse, and there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought against his angels. That's getting ready to happen. When the angels come back, the military on the earth is going to look to fight the Lord and the angels, and the Lord and the angels, and right behind Yahweh Shai is Michael. They're going to wipe these motherfuckers out. It says, and prevailed not. Esau is not going to prevail, neither any of the military armies, neither the coalitions, neither was their place found in any more in heaven. In other words, you ain't going to find a trace of them. It says in 2nd Ezra 13, it said, but smoke and dust. And they showed you that in the movie War of the Worlds, the latest one with Tom Cruise, when the ship came out and they pulled out their sabers, and people went to running because they knew what was going to happen next, and all of a sudden they were hit with them lasers and they turned into powder. It says, and the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil. And this is not talking about the spiritual demon Satan. This is talking about the physical counterpart of the spiritual demon Satan. It said, called the devil and Satan, was deceive the whole world. How did he deceive the whole world? Through his Christianity, through his democracy, through his ways of life, and ultimately by way of the microchip, which is the mark of the beast. It said he was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now is come salvation and strength and the kingdom. When is the kingdom going to come? When this man goes down. What's going to happen before this man goes down? They're going to mass chip the whole planet Earth. And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now is come salvation and strength in the kingdom of our power and the power of his Messiah. For the accuser of our brother, which is Esau, is cast down. That's showing you that that's not talking about the spiritual demon Satan. That's talking about Esau, man. Which accused them before our power day and night. They really wanted us to go down, but we ain't gonna go down. And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb. So that's the elect. We're covered by the blood of the Lamb, and by the word of their testimony, because we was out there teaching, we're making videos, we go out there on the highways and the byways, and they love not their lives unto the death. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he have but a short time. So this is his last hurrah. And it's going to fail miserably, man. And when the dragon saw that he was cast into the earth, he persecuted. Now this is like jumping back. He persecuted the woman that brought forth the man child. And that's 70 AD. And to the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle. And she might fly into the wilderness, into her place. The wilderness is Africa. Into a place is America. How was we brought over here into this place? By way of slavery. Where she is nourished. There it goes again. Where she is nourished for a time and times. I didn't read this yet. Where she is nourished for a time. And now what does nourishment mean? When Trump starts sending you them checks, that's nourishment, man. Because you can eat. You're going to start eating good. It says you can start going to Applebee's instead of McDonald's. It said, well, that's crap any damn way. It said, where she is nourished for a time and half a time from the face of the serpent. We know who the serpent is. And the serpent cast out of his mouth water as a flood after the woman, that he might caused it to be carried away of the flood. And the earth helped the woman, and the earth opened her mouth and swallowed up the flood which the dragon cast out of his mouth. And and that's talking about when they made the order during the time of 70 A.D. to kill off Jake. The Lord said in Matthew's 24th chapter, he spoke about 2 time periods. You know, Jake will read it, that's talking about the end. That didn't happen yet. There's certain parts of Matthew 24, Luke 21, and Mark 13 where it's talking about 70 A.D. It says, and the dragon was wroth with the woman and went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which keep the commandments of the Most High and have the testimony of Yahweh Shai. Anyway, I'm going to close on that. And yeah, like I said early in this video, that this situation that you see with the coronavirus and free checks, and there's a deeper meaning behind it. Okay, there's a deeper meaning behind it. Anyway, with that, I'm gonna say shalom. It's on to the next one. Shalom.